Hello, nerds. Welcome back to yet another installment of whatever this series is. We could call it power scaling. We could call it something. I don't know. Whatever. Today, we are going to be seeing who is stronger, or who would win in a fight, me or Lewis. Now, I know that coming into this, Lewis would seem like the obvious choice, because obviously I'm the much lesser known individual. But actually, there are several reasons why Lewis almost certainly wouldn't win. But first, let's start with a little bit of a rundown here. We can go through this in true power scaling or whatever fashion, going through different feats and topics and stuff. The first of those, obviously, is going to be simply strength. Lewis does show some rather large feats of strength from, we're talking base strength without, power. Well, I mean, we're including stats from powers, but not, energy attacks. And all in all, Lewis is pretty strong, but it's not anything insane unless he adds in energy, which in that case, it quickly becomes insane. I believe that the best we see him doing is throwing people rather long distances or doing kind of crazy stuff like that. He's pretty strong, but not anything. But without adding energy to it, it's not something absurd. Unless I'm making a major blunder and forgetting something. However, anyways, I'm going to be limiting my character to phase 6, which is powerful enough for the purposes of the debate, and if I went any further, it would be unfair. Plus, we have barely even seen phase 6, hardly at all. And so I don't know. Phase 6 is the furthest we'll go for my character. But in phase 6, my character has a strength stat of 12, which is a lot of strength. For context, at this level of strength, my character is easily able to cause... Well, maybe not easily, but if I actually hit someone seriously, I could literally completely obliterate their head in a single punch. And actually, that's still while holding back. Now, that doesn't take into account resistance or anything, but I'm just saying, just base strength. I hold the ability... Okay, yeah, I jump scared for that. My character would hold the strength to be able to destroy boulders and do many other feats of strength, including hurling people, maybe even twice as far, or doing things. All in all, I would say, if I had to guess, I would say my character has probably around double Lewis's physical strength. But all in all, this is just the first category, so my character definitely trumps in terms of strength. Next, unless I'm missing something, but I kind of forget some of Lewis's strength feats. Next, we have speed. Now, if you're not familiar with how I scale speed, I do include teleporting in this scale. Because teleporting is basically like speed, but better. And Lewis, in terms of speed himself, he seems sort of limited. However, we do see him coming out of the clouds in a matter of 1.5 seconds. Or out of nowhere. So it's pretty clear Lewis has pretty good base speed, even without teleporting. But it's also clear that he can teleport pretty much anywhere instantaneously with the use of his knives. And his only limitation being how many knives he has in any such location. And he even uses this tactic to kind of hold up against Janek for a significant amount of time. But it's pretty clear that he has some significant speed. And if I had to guess, I would suggest that he's probably faster than the nuke, not the nuke, but that massive explosion he caused in Day of the Departed. I would expect that he is also faster than it. He might even be faster than Janek, but I, to be honest, doubt that. Because we've seen Janek do some crazy speed feats, but I would argue that Janek and Lewis might actually have similar speed stats. But I don't know this. I'm just theorizing. But I do know that Lewis has an insane speed potential. My character's speed is also on a level of 12, essentially, I'm able to... Okay, here, I forget. So my character stats, essentially, I double my real life stats. And if I remember correctly, my running... I don't know, I base it off of an interpretation that I would expect myself to be faster than an older thing that I had gotten of 10 miles an hour when I was much, much younger. So I would say 15 or something. Probably, it might be higher than that. It probably is higher than that, but whatever. We're going to go with 15. That, if you add that to phase 1, it increases to 30. And basically, you just multiply that by 12, and you get my current speed, and that's just base form speed with, like, double the power or something. Like, the double stats, not power, but just stats. So, essentially, 30, 180, 300... So, yeah. Right, yeah. So my character has just a base speed, not even adding in energy and stuff, of 360 miles an hour. I believe that means my character is literally fast enough he can fly and break this sound barrier without using energy. And then if you add in energy, I'm able to quite literally quadruple that speed, meaning I can probably travel faster than literally any aircraft, or probably... I don't know, that's something around over like 1,000, like probably around close to 1,500 miles per hour, which is probably that's some crazy speed. It ain't, like, I mean, I guess if the only thing that really would dwarf it would be rockets, satellites, space kind of stuff. But honestly, I think the speed would probably dwarf even Janek and Lewis's speed. But we have to incorporate teleports because it appears that Lewis has no limitation other than knives, which is very unique, at least in this situation. My character is very held back in terms of teleportation. Even at phase 6, he only has a level 2 teleport, which in my stats means that he's only able to teleport infrequently during battle, maybe around 3 times in 30 seconds, which is, I mean, you could argue is pretty frequent. It can be used quite well, but against certain people who have more teleports, it kind of becomes a contest of who can teleport quicker. In this case, Lewis would absolutely trump me in terms of teleports because I am only able to teleport a couple of times every so often, like maybe once every 10 seconds. And while my base speed would probably be, I would guess, around 3 times faster, adding teleports in means that Lewis would trump me in terms of speed. So we're going to give that to Lewis. Next, we have to take durability into account. Lewis seems like the obvious choice, but the thing is, this guy has some crazy durability, but he also, my character does too, that's the thing. So, Lewis has been shown to literally deal with someone who was going at 100 times the power without even hardly taking damage. Granted, he was getting absolutely knocked about everywhere, but he took practically no damage, which, to be honest, I think Creeper massively underplayed his 100 times the power. Because in reality, I'll be honest, I don't think... I just think that Lewis... I don't know, it's kind of all over the place, and it's hard to find any real metric, because on one hand, we have Talbark's Fire Demon mode just completely overpowering his resistance. But in reality, I don't see much in terms of scale. Like, we see a couple of things in terms of scale. Talbark seems to be completely ruthless and really strong, but you don't really get an idea of what, like, the full scale of it is, except for in terms of destroying a planet, which is not really on par with a lot of other things. It seems to be way higher, but that's the problem. Lewis's resistance is a little bit all over the place, because on the lower end, you have that he literally got obliterated by a turtle dude powering up to be golden and all that. And then on the other hand, you have him literally surviving someone using a very powerful member going 100 times faster, stronger, like all that stuff. Well, that's supposedly the idea, but it's not really. That's not really completely accurate. If he really was going, it says he's going 100. It's supposed to be the canonical thing. But if we were really going at that, he should have been knocking Lewis across across like an entire county every time he hit him. Like Lewis, I don't know. I'll be honest. I think Lewis absolutely would get wiped. He would get absolutely destroyed by a real 100 times the power creeper. But whatever. So it makes it very, very difficult to power scale Lewis's resilience and durability, but it's clearly very high. So that's interesting. However, I'm pretty confident I can outdo him. My character in Phase 6 it has a massive amount of durability, well, more of resistance. My character quite literally only takes 98.5 not 98. That would be nothing in terms of resistance. My character only takes 1.5% of the full damage of any and all attacks. This makes it really hard for any normal person to do any real damage to my character. In addition to my character having like over 1,000 years experience of getting injured, getting hurt, all that kind of stuff, having an absurdly high level of durability in addition to that, and having fought on planetary to solar system scale fights and stuff like that, I would dare say my character probably has a fairly higher. I'm not going to say it's too much higher, maybe a couple times higher, but I would definitely say my character probably takes durability in this case as well. Even over someone who's practically his strength pretty much comes from his increasing levels of durability throughout the series. And then we have our next. And then we have our next category. We're going to go with weapons. Probably one of the most boring categories. Lewis obviously has his knives, which are absolutely a insanely powerful weapon. Considering he's able to teleport to them. And they are incredibly difficult. Knives are like a insanely difficult weapon to outpower in close range. They're like the ultimate closest of range weapon. I would go for sword due to its increased range and stuff. If you can keep them from getting too close, then they can't use the knives except in throwing. And a lot of times, if you're good enough, you could, like, in a power setting, it's easy enough to block those kinds of attacks. But all in all, knives are a very good choice of weapon. On the other hand, my character has a total of 6 different weapon types or styles to choose from. From being able to wield a normal sword to being able to wield a massive scythe or battle axe, or a smaller battle axe and a shield, or 2 knives of my own, allowing me to basically replicate his skill in my own field, except that I would be better due to my much higher levels of experience, considering my character has lived it for over 1,000 years and has trained in all of these forms of combat. Although, if we are counting that my character is currently kind of, not, I don't want to say delirious, but kind of confused because he's kind of lost his memories due to certain after effects of what happened. But for the moment, but even just then, my character wouldn't be too significantly at a disadvantage, considering I'd be able to actually outmatch him in terms of weapons, abilities, and stuff. But all in all, I have a much bigger selection, and at my full potential wielding these, which I guess is what we're talking about, I would absolutely be way more skilled than even Lewis in terms of wielding these. Yes, even stronger than Lewis when wielding these weapons. So I would definitely trump Lewis in terms of variety and skill at full potential. Not right now in terms of the storyline, but definitely at the full potential of my character. Then we have IQ. I'm just gonna... people will put battle IQ and IQ on different things, but I'm just gonna put them both together because it makes more sense to me. So, we have IQ. Basically, who is smarter? Lewis clearly has some pretty big smarts. I mean, for one thing, even as just his debut, he was able to hold up against Janek, outsmart him in a couple times, and it's only really because Janek was so much more powerful than Lewis at the time that he won. Because Lewis absolutely trumped him in terms of brains and was able to occupy him long enough that one of his men got his friend killed. And then as you go on in the series, just Lewis gets increasingly more powerful, outsmarts his opponents at every turn. Even when Telebark goes all out on him and Believer, he manages to outsmart him into going into a portal because Telebark is too strong for him at this point, apparently. And so he puts him into a trap. Or you see him in... you don't really see him use any strategy in Poison. He just kind of attacks. That's not a very good IQ feat. But you do see him using a lot of different smart strategic moves, such as forcing a 3v1 with Turtle Blade, whatever that girl's name is, I forget for the moment, and Rayan. I forget what the name is. My brain is farted. I know it normally, okay? I'm sorry. But he turned that 3v1 into a 1v1 by shielding the other two and stuff. So he's clearly very capable of being smart and basically goes on a Hitman mission to kill everyone for some reason. So he has a lot of IQ and battle IQ. The question is, could he come up to my character's level? It's really not even close to a fair fight because my character has way more experience and ought to be way smarter. But the thing is, I don't have any real feats to call off of. But my character is supposed to be incredibly smart. Of course, he doesn't really show it at first for quite a while because he's still recovering and stuff. I don't know. I'll try to make it a lot more clear that my character is intelligent and generally superior to everyone in the series almost. But he would definitely trump. He's supposed to be would definitely trump Lewis in terms of IQ or battle IQ, because there have been times when Lewis rushed in, like in Poison, and didn't seem to think too much, or when he simply attacked Creeper, he didn't seem to have too much of a plan other than just killing Creeper. Although he did seem to have a knife to teleport to New York or something, or maybe he just teleported there. I don't know. I don't know why he decided to teleport there and just destroy the... I don't know what this man's goal was, except to just kill everyone and everything. But yeah, another category where I trump Lewis in. Then we have experience. This ain't even a contest. I generally I'm going to be outmatching anyone in this area from the Shadow Creeper universe. I have more experience than any of them. Or I don't, but my character has more experience than any of them, due to just how absurdly long he's lived, all this kind of crazy stuff. My character would easily dominate any of them in terms of experience, and probably most of them in terms of IQ, unless they're, crazy smart, which, to be honest, all of them have had shortcomings, and my character is just supposed to, never have those shortcomings, hardly ever. They're all great and all, but a lot of times it seems like they do some dumb things and that's just not how my character's supposed to be. He's supposed to be abnormally smart, he's just supposed to be absurdly good in general. And he does get outclassed eventually by certain members, which is supposed to make it more dramatic and worrying whenever said people come into the story, because all of a sudden, oh no, this insanely powerful guy who was stronger than everyone before is all of a sudden the one that's scared. Or something like that. That's kind of the idea. We have the main character who's just stronger than everyone else, and it doesn't really seem that the darkness should be too much of a threat or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. And then it gives me a nice position to add in stronger villains and suddenly shake things up. But anyways, I think I might be missing some categories, but I think I made my case pretty clear. My character trumps Lewis, and he probably trumps anyone from Shadow Creeper's universe. And the whole point here is just to kind of talk about how much my character trumps these people. Like, it's an idea to kind of power scale where I don't have to animate to show power scaling or something. Just kind of an idea, like, kind of more of a series to see how I would compare to other characters. And you never know, maybe I'll find a Shadow Creeper universe character who is stronger than me. But that'll probably be saved for a episode in the future. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this session of power scaling such. Thank you for watching this video, and please do subscribe. And I will see you in another video. I'm out.